Truth is, pretty schedules are dead and they are no longer working. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you why they are no longer working. And I'm going to be teaching you how to create a schedule that you can actually follow. And I'm going to be showing you how I've actually been creating schedules as a top student for the past 8 years. And I'm going to be doing that in a live schedule making session. So be sure to watch through everything so that you understand the steps I'll be using in that live schedule making. Anyways, let's get into it. So the truth is, pretty schedules don't work. Not because of the way they look, but because of the way they are created and the reason based on why they are created. Most times pretty schedules are created based on vibe or based on ignorance, and in the worst case scenarios, based on both. So what you need actually in a schedule is a schedule that actually preventive and corrective. A schedule that actually prepares you for all situations, all while being easy to follow. And I'm going to help you to make this kind of schedule just by following 5 simple steps that will actually help you to create that kind of schedule that will actually help you to get the grades that you deserve. And the first step is simply creating a schedule based on who you are. I see most people, they just create a schedule like, make we just do them anyhow, just create a schedule. But these are the factors that you should actually consider when making a schedule. Number 1, create this schedule based on your energy level. As somebody that I know I'm a night person, if I put to read lots of subjects in the evening, I know that I'm going to definitely do it. But if I tell myself I'm going to read one subject from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., I'm just deceiving myself. It's a lie. And that's what most of you used to do. Like, oh yeah, this semester I want to be that girl in the morning, doing stuff. But you know that you're more of a night person. Don't waste your time scheduling anything in the morning. Just simply ensure that you put your reading subjects exactly at the time where you know it will be easier for you to read it. So if you're a morning person, put more of your important subjects near in the morning. If you're an evening person, put more of your subjects near in the night. And next thing you need to create your schedule on is based on realistic goals, and you'll see how I do this in my live schedule session. So you know that your day finishes by 7 p.m. By 8 p.m. you've gotten your lunch, your dinner and all that, and so your day practically remains like 3 hours. Then you now see that within that 3 hours you want to read 5 subjects. It's not possible. So you need to plan those suggestions in such a way that that you make the most of that time, and that you actually be able to do as much as possible while doing the most efficient things at the time. And then the last one is simply in terms of prioritization. The truth is, when you look at your scheme of work or your course compact, you know the courses that will require more time, and that is where prioritization comes in. You need to actually think, okay, these are my 3 unit courses. This will probably need me to read it 3 or 4 times in a week. This is a 1 unit course. I most likely don't even need to read it at all, but I need to read it like once in a week. So you need to understand what are your core courses, which courses will take more time, and allot the time that those subjects require to ensure that you actually get the grades that you deserve. The second one is create your study schedule to accommodate revision and learning beforehand. This is something that I don't used to do when I started creating study schedules initially, but when I started doing it, academics so this was something I did mainly as soon. What I just simply do is that I know that I'm having this course on this particular day, so I'm going to look for a way that I can put it, especially the day before the course, so that when I'm reading it the day before, I can check, do I have any assignments? I can do it on that day, so that you stop missing your assignments and realizing that there was an assignment that you completely forgot about. Another way you can also use this particular tip is to also schedule your reading sessions after the course. Like, you can use those times to now revise what you did in the class the day before, and also to read ahead. This was something that I did last semester, especially with my maths courses, and it really helped a lot. Because by the time they are now solving the maths in class, I'm like, yeah, I've seen this before. I understand how to do it. It doesn't really have to be that serious. Just watch maybe a few videos on it. At least get an idea of what the lecturer is doing. It will really boost your confidence and to actually help you to understand the course a lot more. Third one is create your schedules to be flexible. God, some of you, the way you just plan your schedules, you just used to make me annoyed. You will now say, read that 3 unit course that will take you 2 hours to read within 30 minutes. How does it work? You're not creating that schedule to actually be followable or even feasible in the long run. What you need is to create a schedule that will actually give you allowance, create a schedule that will actually give you the amount of time necessary for you to actually do that course. So when you're creating your schedule, you know that my class finishes by 7, I can give myself a little bit of time for me to actually start reading. Maybe start by 8 or start by 9. That is a more realistic schedule to create. And then you now tell yourself that I have 8 to 12, or maybe sometimes 9 to 11 to read. That's 2 hours. So realistically, what I can do within 2 hours is like maximum of 2 subjects, and maybe sometimes one subject if I want to really get the most out of that subject. And another part of this flexibility is not just creating a flexible schedule. Sometimes what you need to do is actually have more than one schedule. So I think I need to confess right now, sometimes I actually used to have schedules per week. So I can see that schedule making is actually not just an act, but a skill. So sometimes I always base my schedules based on my current needs. Like now, the schedule that I'm using during my test can never be the same schedule I'm using during normal weeks. It can never be the schedule that I'm using during exam time. So what you need to do is you need to create schedules for each of these moments where you know that, oh, it will actually help you. Like now, maybe in the first week you were reading all the courses on a general basis, but along the way, 3 weeks into the semester, you realize that this particular subject that is giving you a problem. You need to redo your schedule again. And that is the whole point of being flexible, being able to maneuver around your pain points to create a schedule that will actually help you to get the grades that you deserve. And if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed by the process of making different schedules and all that, I actually did a simple template for you guys to follow and it's in the description. You can just use that to start creating your schedules and all that. Apart from that, I really just create my schedules on paper or in my notes app or something like that. So if you know that. Anyways, the next one is create your schedules for all to see or for accountability. What I actually simply did last semester was I pasted something on my wall for my reading schedule and all that, but I'll be explaining that more in my next point. So what you need to simply do is post your schedule on your wall in your room, because when people are passing, did you read this course this day? I don't know, there's just something about that, especially if you have like encouraging friends, not the ones that will telling you, see, you never follow your schedule. Those of you with bad friends, God will help you. And it just helps you to stay more accountable to you actually reading. When you know that people are going to pass by and actually see what you're supposed to read today, you'll actually be more encouraged to read it. So just put it in a place where everybody can see it, and a place where you actually be held accountable for what is on that paper. And so the next point is simply create schedules to be tracked. So what you're going to simply do is that instead of pasting my schedule on the wall, what I simply pasted was this tracker of did you read today. So anytime, whenever I read, I'll just tick yes, I read. Or sometimes I write how long I read, or maybe I'll just write the course that I read that particular day. And so what you need to actually be tracking as a student sincerely is whether you read that day. That is really the most important thing. It doesn't really matter what you read, because there are some days whereby some things will just happen, and maybe you have an unscheduled meeting in the evening or something like that will just come up, and so the normal amount of time you have to read is not the time you actually have. And so what matters is that you actually just do the reading. It doesn't matter whether you read all the 3 courses you plan to read or whatever, but as long as you are reading every single day consistently, that is what is actually going to change the ball. But the truth is, creating the schedule is not the end of it all. When you've created the schedule, sometimes it's very, very difficult to use it. So I'm going to tell you 3 tips that actually help you to use your schedule effectively. And the first one is simply use them with discipline. You're not going to feel like using your reading schedule every single day. That's just the truth. And what you need to simply exert on yourself in those moments are discipline. Whether you feel like it or not, you're just going to have to use the reading schedule. That's why I say you don't actually have to do exactly what is on the reading schedule. Sometimes you can just simply, pick one of the subjects. As long as you did something that day, you're exerting discipline, you're installing the character of showing up every single time, and that is really what matters in the end. The second one is simply use the schedule with specifics. So I know your study schedule is probably not going to be specific, but when you've written on your timetable, okay, today I want to read maths, what you should be thinking of in that day is, what in maths am I going to read? Am I going to be doing my assignment today? Am I doing my PQ today? Am I reviewing that subject we did last class that I did not understand anything at all? That's what you should really be doing when you're doing your study sessions and reviewing your schedule. And the last one is simply use them according to seasons. I already spoke a little bit about this. So you don't have to use the same study schedule all throughout your whole semester. It's going to really frustrate you. Let me not even lie to you. You need to have different study schedules for different seasons, like maybe at the beginning of your session, schedules for your test season, schedules for your exam period. And the truth is that you cannot really prepare these schedules beforehand. It's only when you really get to around that time you can tell, okay, this is what I need to focus on at that moment. So yeah, just ensure that you create them such schedules for all the different seasons, and that will actually help you to do a whole lot better in your exams, your tests, and in your grades overall. Okay, so we're going to start the live schedule making with me. So this is just simply the task for today, where together we're going to create the schedule live. So I'm going to put my timetable on the screen, and this was kind of like my timetable for last semester and everything. So as you can see, on Tuesday I have class from 8 to 5, and on that same day I used to have choir practice by what time is it again? 7. So if I tell myself I'm going to read 5 courses that day, I'll just be deceiving myself. So that okay, on Monday, what would make sense for me to do is for me to read like one subject. I'm going to divide my day into morning, afternoon. This is how I would make my timetables on a normal day. I don't know how to write that. You get to see afternoon and night. So I know that you guys probably not want to watch me a lot different times to all my different days of the week. But what I was simply doing here was I was looking at, okay, how much time do I have in a day, and what can I simply do in this day that will be most efficient. Like now on the Monday where I had 8 to 5, I knew I could do one subject. On Saturday when I know I had a lot of time, I could do 4 subjects. Like that. I really wish I had my actual schedule that I made that time, but this is just a way I would do it if I was actually starting school again. So in total, I have 1 plus 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, 10, 11, 13, 15, 16 slots. I have 16 slots. So what are my courses? EDS. I know that this one will not be on timetable. I need like 3 times in a week to read that training course. GC to same thing, about 3 times in a week. That takes about 6 slots, remaining 10. So the remaining courses I go need 2. So here, I was simply just putting all the subjects into different slots, and I didn't think you guys would want to watch that. So I'm going to summarize what I was simply doing there. So I know the number of slots I have inside the timetable, and I know the number of times I want to reach each course. So what I was simply doing is I was putting all the subjects into those different slots. But instead of the normal way of doing it, I wouldn't just put any 2 subjects there. I would put maybe one 3-unit course with a 1-unit course, which would make it a whole lot easier for me to follow. So yeah, that's my timetable made all together. And of course, over time, when you're following the schedule, you know what and what is not working and what is not helping. So you just go through it and then keep reviewing it and changing it. Sometimes if you see some of my timetables, there will be slashes where I will exchange subjects together. So this does not have to be what it would be all the way to the end, but this will just like help you to know, what you should do and everything. So yeah, back to the video. But the truth is, study schedules are not really everything that it takes to get the right grades. You can have a wonderful study schedule and then in the end you might have the worst grades. Why? Simply because the study techniques you're using during your study sessions are not working. So I'm going to go a little bit into detail about study techniques that you actually need that will actually help you to get better grades. And I did that in this video by this side, so you can just click on that so you can get the study techniques that you should actually be using during your study sessions that will actually help you to get better grades. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you in another video.